Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Today, it's a doubleheader starting at 4 p.m. with Jewish Heritage Night. As for this game, the Ferry Hawks will play as the Staten Island Menches. Friday at 7 p.m., it's soccer night, and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
My son is no murder. My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself. And that's what hurt so bad.
35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this black boy said that I was scared.
Yeah, the arguments continue, ladies and gentlemen, over Carmelo Anthony. James Goldman, Bo Snerdley here with you. And here we are on the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. I did a deep dive on this Carmelo Anthony story today because I've been hearing so many things about it, and we're going to get to it. Iran in the news, President Trump in the news. By the way, yesterday, failed to mention that Nancy Mace was booted out of politics for the time being, came in a disastrous last place finish in the South Carolina primary. So we have that. Also, it is just, there's a lot of news concerning Mark Wayne Mullen today and a presser that was held with Attorney General Todd Blanche. Stunning bombshells to me that came out that won't be considered bombshells, I guess, by the mainstream press because it deals with something they don't want to talk about, which is illegal immigrant children that were lost during the Biden administration and what their fate has been. So all of that and more. But on this Carmelo Anthony, there is so much. I asked and went through the record on why the situation took place in the first place. Frisco Memorial High School did not set up a tent at a track meet. That is the high school. Well, no, Frisco Memorial did set up a tent. The Centennial High School, which was Anthony School, did not have a tent. Why is that important in all of this? Because tents are considered to be the headquarters of whatever school you are at. Students change in there. They use it as their privacy. So it started to rain, and Carmelo Anthony, according to testimony, went into another team's tent to dodge the rain because his school did not set up a tent. Now, whose fault is it that his school did not set up a tent? I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't have one. A heavy rain shower happened. Carmelo Anthony School did not have a tent. Centennial High School. So he went into the tent of a rival team. Now, what happens in high school when you go inside a private area of your opponent? They're not going to like that. Now, whether they should have been open and said, oh, yeah, it's raining, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I can see that there would be an argument to be made for that, but no, he was asked to leave. Now, his defense team said he went in there to specifically sit down and chat with a friend, but it's a rival team. He was not welcome there by most of the other team. That is a violation of the culture. A home team, a team views it as their home base, as their private locker room. Metcalf and other students reportedly asked him to leave multiple times. Witnesses testified that Carmelo Anthony became very defensive. He started mocking the students. He allegedly used profanity, called the rival team names who in the tent where he had come into, and taunted them. Kept telling them, you're going to have to move me. As an argument developed, he reached in his backpack and just kept saying, touch me and find out. So he's going to go gangster on him. He was pushed. The moment he was pushed, he pulls a knife out and stabs Metcalf. Now, to hear people like Jasmine Crockett and Cardi B, who's had a long extended rant, say it, Carmelo Anthony was, he was in the right, nothing, no problem, he did everything right. No. We live in an age where I would call it the confrontation culture. You see it every day. If you are on social media, you cannot help but see it every day. The confrontation culture. And what does that culture look like? You have people, grown men mostly, standing in all sorts of public places doing horrendous things. They're standing, walking up to people's cars, filming their license plates, filming their vehicle identification numbers, their VIN numbers on their car. They're going to people where they're going into doctor's offices or coming out of doctor's offices, coming out of airports, coming out of gas, and they're violating their private. They're violating a sense of privacy that does not exist because they're in a public place and they have a First Amendment right to be there. They challenge the police officers. They call police officers horrible names. If someone says, why are you filming me? They get into conflicts with them. They do it all for clickbait so that they can then post the videos of the confrontations online and make money from them. If you look at what has happened at the ICE headquarters, you see in Delaney Hall, in other places, you see confrontations. Everywhere you look these days, especially involving minors of a certain age, too, you see confrontation sells. And then you put into it other factors. You have a black kid in Texas, and I don't know how many of the other students of the other track team were black. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But it does matter in a way because then you go in with this, what I call the gangster culture. And we've talked about this. I'm a badass. You're not going to say anything. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to mouth you. I've got a weapon. Screw you. Screw whatever it is. And you go in with an attitude of confrontation. And something horrible happened as a result. And now there's all the aftermath of it. Now, according to people like Cardi B, Jasmine Crockett, tons of people online, we live in a racist society because, and everything is racist. The whole episode is racist. The jury system is racist because a kid a black young man has been now sentenced to spend 35 years in jail because he murdered another person. And on top of it, outside of the courtroom, we heard things like F white lives, F this. So now it's turned into a horrible, ugly racial conflict. You know what was missing through all of this? Good manners. Good manners. What if instead of all this, the kid just came in and said, listen, guys, I know our team doesn't have it. Would you guys mind if I just stand here to get out of the rain for a few minutes? Do you think that those kids would have reacted the way you did instead of coming off like a little gangster? Do you think that had just asked politely, do you think this would have happened? Do you think if they asked him to leave and he said, I apologize for being here, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to stay dry for a few minutes, guys, would it be all right? Does it make him sound a little humble? Yeah. Do you think the other kids would have really been ugly to him if he did not have an attitude toward them, and instead of using profanity allegedly and mocking them and calling them names, the attitude was different? Do you think that would have escalated where it was? Do you think that there was a way out of this instead of the aggression? Do you think we could all do with a little less confrontation in society at large? I can't, and I'm not pointing my finger at this kid just to say, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Look, I grew up in the confrontation society too. Somebody cuts you off on the road being stupid, you know. Yeah, sometimes you go with a road rage on it. You effing this, that, and the other. Or someone ticks you off, jumps your place in line, does something. The reaction is not automatically, let me back off. We have been conditioned to be confrontational in the face of bull crap. And maybe what we need to do is reassess life, especially in this age of social media, in the confrontation society that we live in. I don't have all the answers here. I'm not pretending to, but I do know that this did not have to happen, and it did happen. And one young man who apparently was a decent kid, now his life is gone. He will never have his chance at a full life. And another young man who, despite everything else, did not appear to be a bad kid, a thug, a person that he was on a track team. He was going to school, comes from a two-parent home, whose parents obviously care and love about him and have not, and feel badly for him. But now his life, the trajectory of his life is now changed. It doesn't mean that he will have a horrible life, because he will still be a relatively young man when he gets out of prison if he survives that experience. But man, this culture that we live in, there is something very toxic about it.